So good afternoon everybody, welcome to the Definitive YouTube channel. My name is Sanu and today I'm here to show you the exciting Metaverse system. So previously we talked about the small demo of how we have the Squirrel 2.0 system and how the labeler and the Metaverse system fits into this whole system, making it seamless, effective and efficient. Now, after we're done looking at the labeling system, so we've seen how the hardware works, then we've talked about how to build these systems, then we train it, then we deploy it. So once all this is done, then it's up to the customer to view the data. So here he has two options. One is to view it on a 2D web page where we show numbers, graphs, all exciting things which will help you make good decisions on your business. But to push it to the next level, especially in the era that we're living in right now, it's important to incorporate and establish 3D visual systems or 3D worlds that people can explore, roam, and interact with data in. That's where the Squirrel 2.0 Metaverse Builder and the Metaverse comes into play. So in one of the videos previously, I told you that in the airline use case, that's where the real need for the Squirrel 2.0 Metaverse system came into play. So we had all this data of about 200 cameras being displayed on a web page, which made it extremely hard for an individual to view it. Yes, it is really given the airline kitchen an insight as to what is going on around them. But we want to push it even more further, incorporate new age ideas, new world technologies, and further improve the data that's being shown. So in a 2D web page, it's hard, as I said, but in a 3D metaverse, it becomes extremely easy to view data because just walking through the world, you can see exactly what is going on in the metaverse. You can see how many objects are being placed, you can see how many objects are disappearing, you can see if there are any alerts or any improper activity happening in certain areas. We can have our computer vision systems gathering data of, say, individuals, so based on the color of the shower cap color, based on the gloves color, based on the kind of color of clothes that they're wearing, we can say that this kind of individual is meant to be in this particular area. So say blue color gloves are meant to be for fish, red color gloves for meat, green color gloves for veg. So when you see a person who's wearing green color, who's wearing red color gloves in the veg section, although he might not be doing anything wrong, it's ideal to maintain hygiene so we can report it, so that none of the veg food gets contaminated with any foreign particles of meat. So this alert will immediately pop up in the metaverse. You can take a look at it and boom, just one person can make a decision quickly as to what he needs to do to improve performance, improve efficiency, and help the company meet the targets and meet the standards that they hold so high. So enough talking, let's jump into the metaverse. So once you log into the metaverse system, you're treated with this 2D grid with a red box floating everywhere where the cursor lies. So what this is basically we have a 20 by 20 grid with each and every individual box. So I can select my 3D models, I can upload my 3D models onto the system, select these 3D models, and then finally deploy it. So on the right hand side here, I have all these options which I can play around with. So let's take a look at the airline kitchen use case. So for the airline kitchen use case, we can use the gravity rack. So this is what we use to keep all the foods. Basically the food trays are kept onto the gravity rack and then it's maneuvered from there. So we can click on the gravity rack. So the gravity rack is a 3D model that we've uploaded onto the system. Then we can go ahead into the Metaverse Builder and click, and then we have the gravity rack placed. So once the gravity rack is placed, we can give it a name. So here we can click on the gravity rack, give it a name, say G rack 1. And now that an object has been named to G rack 1. So if you want to move the object, I can quick move it by clicking on the object and then clicking on to the 2D grid. If I want far more accurate movement, I can use the traditional moving tools. It will be Z-axis, X-axis, and this is Y-axis. Let's place it there now. I want to add a new rack, so I quickly go ahead and click on gravity rack again, add another rack, add another rack, add another rack, boom. So we have already added all these racks. Let's place them correctly. So yeah, we've placed them. So in a few seconds on an online platform, I've been able to spawn models, place them, move them. So show you some of the features. Now we have all the racks placed here. We follow an extremely standard 3D modeling software approach. So whatever you see here is exactly what you use in some of the most common softwares that you have in 3D modeling. When it comes to Blender, when it comes to Maya, when it comes to AutoCAD, anybody working on any of these systems can quickly jump into the Metaverse Builder and build whatever needs to be built. Let's quickly go ahead and name all the racks. It will be rack 2, this will be rack 3, this will be rack 4. So speed is important and we've focused on that quite a bit. So here we have 4 gravity racks, but the racks are not facing each other. Ideally you would have an aisle and the racks will be facing you just like a supermarket, and that's how it is in the airline kitchen. So we can select the gravity rack. I believe this is gravity rack 4. So we can select that. Then we can rotate it by increasing this rotation bar. So another option you can use is so we have shortcuts which allow you to change the transformations. We have the button E to enable rotation. We have the button R to enable scaling. So say we have gravity rack number 3 here, which I don't really want. So I can go ahead, click here, delete it by clicking the remove button, and the gravity rack is gone. Now we're left with 3 gravity racks, but I want one large gravity rack. So we've looked at movement in terms of transformation, we've looked at rotation in terms of transformation. Now let's look at scaling in terms of transformation. When it comes to scaling, you want flexibility, scaling on all axes or scaling on only one axis. So in this case, we will position this gravity rack number 4 by clicking W right into the middle. So after we positioned it, let's see if it's rotated correctly. It probably needs some more rotation. So let's click on E and do some fine-tuned rotation. Yeah, so rotation is done. Then we click on R to enable scaling. So let's scale it this way. We click on the blue button and slowly slide it, and then there you go. You have one big gravity rack. So you have one big gravity rack and 2 small gravity racks. If you'd like to do the same thing to the other gravity racks as well, let me show you some features. So we can move it up and down. We can rotate it like this as well, and we can scale it like this as well. So we have one big gravity rack, and we have one normal gravity rack, and then we have a wide gravity rack. So this is just to show you how we can go ahead and manipulate some of these things. Then we can go ahead and add some items. Say let's add a ladder. So we need a ladder. Oh, the ladder is too big. Okay, so very simple. All we have to do is scale it down. So we can scale it with the help of the scaling button here. This is in case you want some, let's say, fine-tuned numerical scaling. So at 0.25 means 0.25x of the original scale. Let's make it 0.10. And there you go, a small gravity rack, small ladders appear. Go ahead and move the ladder and place it over there. Spawn another one and another one. Put that over there. Then put this over here, and then finally this one over here. There you go. So now we have the ladders placed as well. So basically, what the system allows you to do is in your browser environment, we're able to spawn objects, quickly maneuver them, manipulate them, and do whatever we wish. So some of the other features that we have is, again, the remove button. So let me just remove the ladder. Instantly removes everything. We have the save button, which allows you to save it into a GLTF file. So whatever you've created here, we can take that, modify it into a GLTF file, and use it as a 3D model in anything that you wish. So yes, you're here to build a metaverse, but whatever you build here, you can send it through a GLTF file in any world that you want, even into Blender. So whatever you've created here, you can actually take it and put it into Blender. So let me quickly delete everything and show you some of the other things that we have built with the help of this Metaverse Builder. So before we jump into that, another important tool that we have is we're able to assign certain tasks to these objects. So using the MQTT protocol that I talked about earlier, we gather information directly from our sensors and from our cameras. This information is fed directly into the metaverse through the MQTT protocol. It's an IoT-based communication protocol directly between the server and the IoT platform. So we quickly grab the information with milliseconds and microseconds, and then we can reflect that here just by a click. So you can specify what action you want your model to do. So for example, if I have let's say we have a trolley. So we have this trolley here. So the trolley can get information saying like the trolley has moved from location A to location B. So what you can do is with the help of shortcuts, you can tell, okay, before the information comes, my trolley needs to be here. After the information comes, my trolley needs to be over here. So then once that piece of information has entered the Metaverse platform, the trolley will then move from here to here. Then when another information is attained, say for example a trolley has moved from here to there, then it moves back. If the trolley disappeared, the trolley will turn red or the trolley disappears. So we have to program those things intricately to ensure that everything works perfectly. So now I can show you something that we have built earlier using this Metaverse platform for one of the factories that we're working on. So here, using the Metaverse Builder, we've built this whole complete factory with trucks, objects, and all these objects are also located here. You can use them, move them just the way we have it here. Everything's very detailed. And right now it's not plugged into the MQTT platform, that's why you don't see anything moving. But once it's plugged into the platform, you will see that the people are moving, they're doing their work. As much as possible, as much data as we can grab and deploy it over here. So you see trucks here are stationary, but the trucks will be moving in the final platform. The individual objects will have their own animation as well. So the conveyor belts will be moving, the cookers will be cooking, the engines will be running. You can see it live running in the Metaverse platform. But mainly, what this system has allowed us to do is build our Metaverse platforms on a huge scale in far less amount of time. And I will tell you, when it comes to web-based 3D modeling and AR and VR, it's extremely difficult to place objects. So when it comes to placing an object in VR, you have to specify exactly the X, Y, Z axis in code where you want it to be. So you have to have a lot of knowledge of visualization of these 3D worlds. Where is your origin? Where are you going to place it? Is it being placed correctly? Then you have to rotate it by certain degrees in radians. Some of these things tend to be complicated. You'll find yourself pulling up a calculator. You'll find yourself calculating, okay, if this is at 10x, if this is at 0,10, that should be at 0,20. But now I can just go ahead, move it, slide it, and do whatever I wish with it. Then plug it into the MQTT platform, and boom, everything is working perfectly fine. So That's been the Squirrel 2.0 Metaverse platform. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be creating another video shortly on the data flywheel and how everything works in sync. So thank you everybody for watching. I hope you had a good time, and we'll be creating new videos in the future. This is me, Sanu, signing off from Definitely YouTube channel.